Monster Hunter, a series I have just started to dip my toes into with a few hours of World before Wilds dropped to see if I was interested. Oh, did it get me interested. From what I have heard, too often the platinum for Monster Hunter games is usually 200 to 300 hours needed to complete it. Yet I am up for this task. Welcome back to the video series The Backlog as we hunt our way to the platinum in Monster Hunter Wilds. We begin this game by importing my character from the beta test in all his bearded glory, and my favorite companion Max, before the slickest character creation to cutscene transition happens before my eyes. We are greeted by our companions for this journey into the Forbidden Lands. We have our handler Alma, our smithy Gemma, and the boy we have been tasked with returning to his village, Nata. In the distance, we see a bunch of sand being kicked up as someone is being chased by a bunch of monsters. Our hunter jumps into action to save the girl and utilizes our soon-to-be mount for the game, the Sacred. We get her to safety before being told her brother is in danger. We now get to pick our weapon of choice we want to use in our first hunt, and from my gameplay in Monster Hunter Worlds, I chose to be a part of the Charge Blade gang. And with my weapon definitely mastered and not at all missing out on some of the mechanics, we set out to save our stranded friend from Slippy?
Do something!
I mean the Chupacabra. My first fight goes well with minimal trouble, and netting me my first trophy of this journey for mounting my first monster. But with the Crab Carbonara slain, we get to reunite the brother and sister Nona and Yasai, and move back to our base camp to complete chapter 1 of the story. Before moving on to my next hunt, I got used to some of the facilities that are in the main base, specifically the smithy, and after upgrading my weapon, I hear from the provisions manager that our DoorDash delivery is late, and to my surprise, KFC is after my order. Aquamatrice has been chasing the supply group, and with Yasai bringing us some Sacred, we take it down and make sure our supply chain is safe. Now a friend of mine hopped on and we wanted to tackle a hunt together, and of course before that, we got a muck. I made my first meal, and after starting my carnivore diet, we laid a massive beatdown on another Chattanooga, and completed my first multiplayer hunt. We now get to visit our first village of the Forbidden Lands, Kunafa. We are treated to a massive meal, but don't find out any information about the keepers, Nata's people. But not all is lost. We have been told about a new area. As we move to the new area is a lush forest with scarlet rivers, aptly named the Scarlet Forest, before getting introduced to Astrum Unit with Olivia and Eric. We are tasked with a joint operation with the Astrum Unit and set off into the forest to set up a new campsite. After scouting around a bit looking for traces of a Doshaguma, Eric finds some florets from a Lalabarina and walks straight into its lair, getting captured. We now have to save him from the biggest, but probably the most beautiful spider I have ever seen. And with Eric saved, we make our way back to our new pop-up camp, and as soon as we get there, it is overrun by little Build-A-Bears, the forest inhabitants, the Wudwuds. They take us to their leader, and their leader puts their foot down and says we can stay in the forest as long as we deal with a pink furry problem, which means that our next hunt is going to be a Congalala. This is the first joke monster I have ever come across, and I was not prepared for the crop dusting he was about to give myself and the Wudwuds.
Is what you're telling us.
Brother, what's that?
A big doo-doo.
With the monkey dispatched, we are allowed back in our pop-up camp and are free to roam the forest to our heart's content, to work towards finding the Doshaguma. Going back to our camp, we run into a pack of Doshaguma and their leader that we are looking for, an Alpha. The pack started to move towards Kunafa, so with their safety in jeopardy, we ran back to warn Yasai and the other villagers. The village's security leader is off at the oasis and was actually being attacked by a pack of Balahara, the sand leviathan that was from the intro of the game. But after a quick fight with the Alaskan bullworm, and my first sneak attack acquired, We rush Sato back to the village to warn everyone of the Pack of the Doshaguma. As we are warning the Elder, a sandstorm hits and the Pack of Doshaguma is already attacking the village, and with a little persuasion by sending out some livestock, we get the pack out of the village and lead them toward the desert. This next cutscene is insane and sets up our showdown with the Alpha.
Oh my. Alright, then let's box.
With an amazing fight during the inclemency of the Windward Plains. We slay the beast and get our first crown for a trophy. We now get to experience the game at its most beautiful state, the Season of Plenty, and now have a cohesive relationship with the village of Kunafa. This unlocked our sacred customization, and with a few tweaks to our color and a new name, we're off to our next objective. Our next objective is to deliver some sacred to the Astrum unit, but we find out Olivia and Eric are out investigating something. It's time to go into the forest during its inclemency, the downpour. An SOS flare is shot into the sky, and we are roped into our first Apex Predator fight with the Leviathan Utuna. This fight was my very first time getting carded, and it didn't just happen once,
Whoa. Oh, I died.
but twice throughout this long fight. And even through all that, the White Wraith, Arkfeld, comes in and steals my kill and flies off into the sunset. I still get to carve the Utuna, and I finish another chapter. The forest is now verdant and lush in its Season of Plenty, and as we make our way to the next area of the game, the Oil Well Basin. An area with oil waterfalls as far as the eye can see.
Don't fall from your perch now.
It's a good thing the Americans haven't caught a smell of this.
Sounds like Azul needs some freedom.
We make it to the village of the area, Azuz, and meet the local townsfolk, where we are immediately asked to go make sure a couple of villagers are okay out in the basin. Of course, this leads to a fight with another monster, the Rumpompolo. This is the first fight you have to deal with any debilitating status effects, because I do not believe the stank from the monkey is debilitating.
Brother, what's that?
I also cut up enough wounds to pop another trophy. With a short fight and a deflated oil bag dealt with, we rescued the villagers and make it back in time for the Fire Spring Festival. Although it seems something has happened and put a stop to the festival. With even greater news, it seems that sandstorm, the Sand Tide, is happening sooner than expected again. So we jump into action and move back to the plains to find out what is going on. Before moving onto the plains though, I spent a day helping my fiance catch up in the game, and acquired a trophy for following someone the first time. And with a few hours of hunting with her, it was time to head to the main area of the Windward Plains, the Wind's Grasp. And once we get there, we find Arkfeld boxing with a new monster, the apex of the Windward Plains, and one of my favorite apexes in the game, Raydao. Raydao loses to the Arkfeld, but is revived by the lightning of the Sand Tide, and we have to take it down to stop it from rampaging so it won't cause damage to Kunafa. We take down Raydao, prevent any damage from befalling Kunafa, and with news that the White Wraith has gone towards the Oil Well Basin, we head back to continue our investigation. Before moving on in the story, I also accidentally popped the trophy for customizing one of my pop-up camps for the first half, so that's nice. But we now get an escort through the underground tunnels in the basin, which seems to be the route Nata took when he was fleeing from Arkfeld. As we are going through the tunnel, we find Nata's route that he took frozen over and move towards the Ice Shard Cliffs, and are very quickly met with our first new monster in there, a Nursilla, who has captured a Wudwud by the name of Rove. Though his wordplay is very cryptic, we jump into action to rescue him from the giant spider. and quickly add Rove to our group. We make our way up into the cliffs before we are attacked by a group of Hirabami, and with our group in danger, and Nada having a fever broken out, we take down the herd of Hirabami and rush back to Azuz. We make it back just in time for Werner, another part of Astrum unit, to have fixed the landmine, and the festival is back on. But of course, because nothing can go our way lately, the fires start to burn out of control and a bunch of Ajarakan attack. Olivia chooses to take one as I fight the other, and Bakugo, in monkey form, decides to beat my ass for 10 minutes straight. Which then ends, of course, on a streak of more bad news. The whole pack shows up, just to be yoinked into the abyss by the apex of the basin, the Black Flame. We now need to delve deep into the basin to find the Black Flame to protect this village, and it was another long and grueling fight, with enough tentacles cut off for a year's supply of takoyaki. But what we found out is called the new Udra is slain, and with the festival finally complete, we finish chapter 2 of the story. Because of the fire spring, the route to Nada's village has melted, and is our next destination. Before heading out, I got my first side mission and went and completed it, and then quickly headed out to the underground tunnel once again. Not even partway into the tunnel, we are attacked by a white Doshaguma, using some type of energy powers to fight us. It's still a Doshaguma though, so it goes down with little fight. We finally get to reunite Nata with his people, and his uncle Tashin comes out to greet us. But our reunion is cut short as a Rathalos attacks, one that does not look like a normal Rathalos. We slay the Rathalos and get our first massive amount of lore dump from Tashin. The Keepers are descendants of the people of Wyveria. The place we have been adventuring through used to be part of this great kingdom, but fell to ruin long, long ago. These white versions of monsters are Guardians, artificially created by Wyveria to protect them, and now roam their ruins, attacking those who come across them. And just before Tashin can tell us what Nata's pendant is for, the White Wraith Arkveld attacks. We just found out it was a Guardian created by Wyveria. We repel it, and it flees before Tashin tells us about the Allharken, someone we should talk to learn more about the past of these lands, what we are required to do, and this requires us to go back to the Ice Shard Cliffs. We join together with Olivia, and at the cliff's base camp we set out to ask Rove if he knows the way to the Allharken. The route he puts us on apparently has a beast, and that beast is the cliff's apex, Jin Dahad. And Jin Dahad is obviously going to be in our way, so it's time to fight through one of the best fights in the game. This is amazing. He even has a one-shot mechanic with an ice explosion that I absolutely did not die to.
mean take cover? Take cover where?
Oh shit. I'm glad.
But with another wonderful fight, we get to our destination that showcased the scale of the Ice Shard Cliffs that we just went through. And we make it to the village of Suja, where the Allharken awaits us. She lets us know more about the Kingdom of Wyveria, and gives us a little bit more in-depth thought into what Arkveld is like and what it is doing. And with more knowledge about it, we need to delve deeper into the ruins of Wyveria to find it, and find out what its plans are. Before we can delve any deeper though, we need to clear out the Guardian that roams the route down towards the Dragon Torch, an Ebony Odogaron. A quick and agile dog-like monster that uses the dragon element to fight us. And this is the first time that I learned that you're supposed to hold the button down when utilizing the Charge Blade in Savage Axe mode.
We swap the axe. Now if I hold this, oh yeah, it's a saw now. I didn't know that you're supposed to hold the button.
Oh.
And I have become the Chainsaw Man. This is also the first time we get to experience a back-to-back fight, as we are jumped by a nightmare octopus immediately after Azuu. After it drags me down into its lair, the fight starts. And this is by far the most nightmare-fueled monster I have ever seen. And with a couple tentacles cut off, we make short work of our friend and are ready to confront Arkveld. Before moving on, I got a couple of trophies. One for cooking up the greatest steak I've ever seen, and one for completing 50 quests. But finally, making our way deep down into the depths of Wyveria, we find the Guardian Arkveld feasting and showing signs of it going crazy, so all we can do is put it down, with Nata whining about it a little bit though.
There has to be another way. It finally got its chance to live.
And with the crazed Arkveld put down, we find out that there's a monster that has taken over Wyveria's energy source, the Dragon Torch. We are tasked with Nata to turn off the Dragon Torch to stop the monster from siphoning energy from it. Although this will destroy most of the ecosystems, as each area's inclemency is caused by the Dragon Torch's power going through the land spine. With that knowledge, we learn that Nata's pendant is the key to turning off the Dragon Torch and stopping this monster, Xochia. When we reach the Dragon Torch, Nata is obviously having trouble pulling the trigger and destroying the Dragon Torch and all of the ecosystems based around it. So we jump in to fix the problem ourselves with a little aura farming.
Oh, I have a scar like
By
Nata.
my own order.
Xochia.
I will slay Xochia.
We find out that we're about to fight a biblically accurate angel dragon. And this is a long fight as you slowly chip away at its crystal armor encasing its body to reveal the true body underneath. A black dragon. This is a true final boss with about 4 stages and a few mechanics that you have to watch out for. And this boss fight lasts a long time. But we're the hero of this story. And with the threat of the Dragon Torch dealt with, this land can start to heal and move back towards their normal days. As the credits roll, we find that the Guardian Arkveld has laid an egg, and it has hatched, showcasing that we are going to be fighting a regular Arkveld later on. And we have completed the main bulk of the story, and it's time to move on to high rank. We are now in high rank. This is where the bulk of our time is going to be for this platinum. We have some big grindy trophies to get now that we are here, and we will be getting a few more story related and side quest trophies, as well as the miscellaneous ones along the way. The big boys we are going to be going for the gold and miniature crown master, which requires us to get both crowns on 26 out of the 29 monsters in the game. Along the way to that goal, we must capture 50 monsters, hunt 50 apex predators, hunt 50 tempered monsters, which should get us to the rank 100. From that, we will need to acquire 1 million Zenny, fish up 30 Whoppers, and finish out the rest of the miscellaneous trophies for this platinum. To start off, each story quest now requires you to hit a higher hunter rank to unlock them, which will also unlock more monsters and variations of monsters like Tempered and Frenzied. To do this, we now have a ton of side missions to do, as well as the ability to do field surveys and investigations on monsters roaming the map. I started off by doing the first mission in the fishing side quest, and then jumped into the first post-game story quest to capture a Yan Cuckoo. After this mission, this is where you are told you need to increase your hunter rank to move forward in the post-game quests. So it's time to run around, getting every side quest to work towards the 30 needed for that trophy, and start hunting monsters through field surveys and investigations. Along the way, we get the trophy for people watching other people's profiles. And with our hunter rank going up, we unlock the next story mission. The main focus of this mission, a double fight against a Fulgur Anjanath, and our first tempered monster, a Lalabarina. With this chapter completed, we have unlocked the ability to hunt tempered monsters, to work towards the 50 needed for that trophy. And as I worked my way through more side missions, I came across the capture mission for the Sandstar. I would like to welcome you to my first Trophies for Dummies section, so you don't have to struggle like I had to. This little blue Furby will run from you, and I mean will not stop. Instead of running around for 20 minutes trying to get lucky with the capture net, utilize the echo feathers from the flying Baunos to make screamer pods. Blast the little blue bastard with the power of a subwoofer and capture it to get the trophy. You now don't have to be a dummy like I was. Now on to the final 2 story quests of the game. With these 2 quests, we unlock the last 2 monsters of the game and open up the final rarity of weapons to use. The first quest requires you to fight all the Apex monsters again, and along the way, one of them was my 100th monster. With all these Apex monsters dealt with, we finally get to fight the final monster of the chapter, Gormagala. This monster is the first time I thought a monster was actually hard and made me actually chill and not just stand there and wail on him like he was a piñata. But with this Gormagala dealt with, we move on to the final chapter of the game, a rematch with that non-Guardian Arkfeld that spawned from that egg. This is the final monster to fight in the game, and tops off the main story of the game before any updates that come out, or any DLC. This also unlocks Rarity 8 weapons in our trees, as well as Rarity 8 armor. This completes pretty much the entire story of Monster Hunter Wilds as we put down the Arkfeld. We have now unlocked every monster in the game, as well as tempered and frenzied variants to farm. This now puts us into the heavy grind of the game, the crown hunts. We will get a ton of miscellaneous trophies here and I will go over them as we get them, but let's get into how I will be tackling finding all the crowns first. Now we know that 26 out of the 29 monsters in the game can have crowns, and they aren't exactly common, they are supposed to be rare. Yet there's a bit of a workaround. The area of the Wounded Hollow is like an arena, and all monsters besides Apex monsters and Guardian monsters can spawn there. What is different about this area to others is that when a monster spawns, let's say in the Windward Plains, it doesn't change no matter how many times you fast travel to the Windward Plains, and that monster is stuck to one size unless you rest and move time forward. The Hollow is different, as the monsters there don't have their size locked, so you can fast travel to Suja and back to the Hollow, constantly looking for the large or mini crown that you need, making this grind still a little bit tedious, but a hell of a lot easier if you're looking for a specific monster. I still need to reset Inclemency so I can keep resetting for Raydao, Utuna, and New Udra, as well as rest in Wyveria to get the Guardian monsters. Along the way, we got a lot of miscellaneous trophies, so I'm going to run through a few sets of them real quick, so we aren't spending too much time on random fodder trophies. The first set of trophies are all based around armor and weapons. I forged 5 pieces of armor at Rarity 7, 5 weapons at Rarity 7, and obtained my first Ardian weapon at Rarity 8. The next set of trophies were all based around quests to help me raise my hunter rank from completing 100 quests via multiplayer, 100 quests with my favorite companion, my Palico, as well as completing 30 different side missions. I even got a lot done with all the rest of the fishing quests, as well as fishing up the giant squid, and when taking breaks from crown hunting, my 30 whoppers.
Whopper, 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 Junior, Double, Triple, Whopper.
The only other non-crown hunting or just hunting monsters in general trophies that were easy were throwing down 10 pop-up camps, finding a creature that has an ancient wyvern coin, which was just a crab,
Hello, I like money.
amassing fat stacks by having a million zenny, and one of the longer trophies, getting 10 out of the 11 special rarity 6 items. And throughout all this, it got me to Hunter Rank 100. I did acquire quite a bit of crowns along the way, making sure to check the Wounded Hollow, which made it easy to fight every monster in the game. This also made it so I utilized the binoculars a lot, making it easy to spot gold and mini crowns. And started my journey finding my first mini crown. To help myself work towards the capture trophy, I captured most of the monsters I fought unless they were a rare spawn, and I made sure to save them for investigations to help other hunters out if they needed it. We also know how far along we are, as the 2 trophies for collecting 10 of each of the crowns helps us keep track. To end off the crown hunting, it was mainly just the Apexes and the Guardian monsters. These either require you to rest at your camp over and over again using up your guild points, or, what I did after doing that for a while, save scum.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Now, I know this isn't very Pog Hunter of me, but it was going to take a while, so I decided to do this. This requires you to rest at your tent to start inclemency. That makes an autosave that you can load back into, and it will change the size of the monster every time you load in. So I just rested at my tent, ran over to the apex of the guardian I was hunting, checked their size. If it wasn't the size I wanted, I'll quit to the title screen without saving, reload back in, and repeat the process. This makes me extremely happy I took up shiny hunting in Pokemon because, good lord, I would have lost my mind doing this over and over for hours. But this strategy bore its fruit as I found my last gold crown and my last mini crown. This left 3 trophies left, meaning the only thing that was between me and the platinum was a few more hunts. While helping out some friends, I fought my 50th Temper monster, and after that, I decided to run around capturing some lower level monsters to reach 50 captures. And finally, all that was left was the apexes, and I finished off with my favorite fight of the 4, Jindahad, for the plat. Wow, throttle jump, shit. Nice, reward money, guild points, hunter rank 135, top of the food chain. Eastward wings, baby. Let's fucking go. This has made me a day one for any content updates and DLC that come to this game, especially if there's a platinum like Iceborne. I'm sure I'm going to go back and do the platinums in World and Rise now, even though I've heard the grind is even longer in those. But this is going to do it for this platinum in my backlog. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like and tell me what platinums you guys are going for in the comments. If you want to see more content like this, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell to be notified when I upload. And of course, if you want to see what game I'm working on next or just want to stop by and chat, I stream everything over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Aetheryze. Thank you all so very much for watching, and keep grinding away at that backlog.